How do you feel? Pretty good, hey? That was very heart-opening, for sure, for sure. So I'm going to ask you all to breathe with me. I do this every Sunday. Just, it gets us all on the same page, and there's something about breathing together. So just take in a deep breath and release. And another. And let it go. And one more time. Thank you. It means a lot to me. I hope that you get something out of it as well. So today marks our 5th Sunday of doing our full service strictly by live stream. And judging by the number of you who tune in every week, I'm actually thinking that you kind of like it. You kind of like being at home in your jammies with your coffee. And you know what? I get that. I think I would like that as well. But I think we all agree that me giving a spiritual talk in my jammies, probably not an ideal thing. So I will continue to show up here dressed like a minister. I don't think you mind. So that said, I am really happy that you all show up on Sundays and that you get something out of it, because I receive emails and comments and phone calls from people who are really, really grateful to be able to be connected in our spiritual family in this way. But I will tell you that the thing that I find the most disconcerting about all of this is not having my spiritual community here in the flesh. As much as I love the fact that we can gather in different ways virtually, I just really miss you guys. There's truth. That's it. And so I cannot wait until we are given the all clear so that we can gather together once again. I imagine it's going to look a little something like this. Oh gosh, I just love that little video. So we're gonna be duplicating that when we're back together again, okay? So one of the phrases that we're hearing a lot from our leaders and from the health professionals is stay the course. In other words, follow through on the protocols that have been set down in order to ease the effects of the pandemic. Now, I want to acknowledge that I understand that there are a lot of people who don't agree with the stay at home, stay safe campaign. Many of you feel it's overkill, or that it's not necessary, or you're concerned about the damage to the economy or your own personal finances. And you know what? I actually really understand that. I do. I waffle back and forth, and I'm very honest about that, between wanting to keep people safe and also keeping the economy healthy. It's a real balancing act for me. However, it is not my intention to make a stand one way or another. My intention for today is to look at what that phrase, stay the course, really means and talk about it from a metaphysical, spiritual viewpoint, because we all know everything is metaphysical and everything is spiritual, right? So what I do, you know me, is that I look things up, I Google things, I look in the dictionary, and here's what I found on the definitions of stay the course. One of them is a nautical term. It's a nautical metaphor on maintaining a constant, unaltering course while navigating. In other words, stay the course. Another definition is to continue doing something until it is finished or until you achieve something that you've planned to do. And the last one is to finish something in spite of difficulties. So with our current situation as we got going on right now, the thinking is that if we stay the course of what we have been asked to do, if we keep this constant course going and we finish what we started, then it's going to have altered the path of the disease. Again, I don't want to make a stand as to whether or not it's the right action to take. I'm just repeating the reasoning behind what we're being asked to do. But the idea, stay the course, also inspired me because it is exactly what it is that we teach about manifesting our desires. What we teach in this center about manifesting our desires. We are taught, number one, to set a strong intention about what it is that we say that we want, to give that intention our energy and our focus through spiritual practice, to understand that there is a process that takes place to bring the thing about. We're told to trust the process, especially to stay the course, even when we don't see the results yet. Because here's what happens. See if you recognize yourself in any of these scenarios. You're taking your first foundations class, or you've got an idea for something that you want to manifest, and you are all gung-ho, and you've got your intentions, and you're excited because they hold so much promise, and you talk about them, and you dream about them, and you make vision boards, and you plan for them, and you see your practitioner, and you do your spiritual work, and you say your affirmations. In other words, in the beginning, we're super excited about things. In a weird way, it kind of reminds me of the beginning of this virus situation. Now, of course, we weren't happy that people were being sick at all. Or we weren't happy that everything had to close down. But think about what that was like in the beginning, like the beginning few days. For some people, it was like a little mini vacation, wasn't it? Vacation where you couldn't go anywhere and you couldn't go out to eat, but still you had time off, right? And what happened is people discovered this thing called Zoom and Messenger, and they planned huge family gatherings virtually online. My whole family came together about 2 weeks ago just to see each other on Zoom. It was kind of fun. Friends get together via Zoom or via technology, and they have virtual game nights. I'm still waiting for Reverend Leslie to plan one of those for us. Happy hour. People sitting in their homes, drinking their wine, chatting, right? People planned movie nights and watch parties. Musicians, including ours, all over the world, giving live concerts from their living rooms. Families getting together to make song parodies about what it's like to be stuck at home. Writers. Even in me, it brought out writers where we would write these long and meaningful messages, right? The humor in the beginning was off the hook funny. And for most of us, I think, there was a collective hopeful feeling that we were doing our part, that we were making a difference. But then the days and the weeks wore on endlessly. Was March the longest decade of your life? And reality began to really set in. And we realized that we're in for this a lot longer than we expected. And I don't know if you all noticed this, but I did, that there was less quarantine-related humor on social media. I found that instead of really looking forward to Zooming with my family or something like that, it became a work tool. I'm going to have a class on Zoom. I'm going to have a discussion group on Zoom. Zoom was always intended like that, but it kind of got hijacked in the beginning, right? And then I noticed that people were less tolerant of each other in dealing with the stress, and people became a lot more judgmental. And division started showing up. We started getting discouraged, started to question about things. So I just want you to keep that in mind when we go back to our personal intentions. If you're like me, especially if you're not seeing the results of anything yet. If I'm not very, very careful, I start to slack off just a little bit. Maybe I skip a meditation, or I don't write in my journal, or maybe I forget to do my affirmation, or skip a treatment, or maybe I start to let those seeds of doubt come in and get in the way of my good intentions. So instead of being excited and committed, I'm like, well, I guess it just wasn't meant to be. Or I knew I couldn't have what I wanted. Or why did I think this time it was going to be different? And because the universe responds to our strongest feeling, then those intentions that had been so excited and now we're feeling a little discouraged, those intentions begin to wilt from lack of attention and lack of love. I want to be very clear about one thing, however. When I'm talking about giving something our intention and giving something our attention, I'm not talking about putting our focus and our attention on it 24/7. Yeah, I mean, think about it. Think about watching grass grow, okay? If we're just looking at what it is that we're dreaming about and we're not doing anything or anything like that, what happens is that we can stop up the flow. And we're not allowed things to flow as they're supposed to. Besides, when we're hyper-focused, is it happening? Are you him? Are you him? Are you him? When we're hyper-focused like that, it is an indication that we don't trust the natural unfolding of the universe. And maybe when we're hyper-focused like that, we think that we're the ones who have to make it happen through the sheer power of our minds, where the exact opposite is actually true. Our job is to plant the seed. Our job is to chart the course and then allow the universe to work behind the scenes to bring it about. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, said this: "Our work will best be done in quiet expectancy and in calm confidence." Isn't that wonderful? Don't you just long to walk through life like that, in quiet expectancy and calm confidence? That's how I want to walk through life. But what happens is that maybe not you, but me, certainly, I'm very used to instant gratification. And so when I don't get the results that I want right away, I become discouraged, and then I start to give up. Now, you may be thinking, well, Dr. Pat, which one is it? Am I supposed to put all my focus on what I want, or am I supposed to keep my focus off what I want and trust the universe? Which one is it? It's a paradox, right? Well, the answer is, it's both. In the beginning, when we're first planting that seed, when we are first got an intention, we put our energy and we put our focus on developing the consciousness of the thing we say we want, the awareness of what we want. And we do that through our regular and consistent attention on our intention. Wasn't that a good little turn of a phrase? We put our attention on our intention. I doubt I made that up, but I'm going to claim it. Then, once we've developed this consciousness of the thing that we say we want, the universe has something to work with. Does that make sense? And once we have this consciousness, it's solid, it's clear, we know what it is, then we can let go and let God. Now, we don't stop our spiritual practice at all. It just means that once we've developed the consciousness with our with our mental work, with our heart work, then we can allow the process to take hold. Ernest Holmes had something to say about that. He said, spiritual mindedness is a persistent and consistent attempt to feel the divine everywhere and in all things. So that brings me back to our current situation. As students of truth, and I mean truth with a capital T, it is important, it is crucial for us to look for and to find the divine in everything, even this. Because when we truly see and feel the divine in everything, including this, we can know that. Even if we don't agree with the way things are, even if we are worried about the implications of it, even if we are concerned about health for ourselves or for other people, we can trust that ultimately this is for us. We just might not be able to see it yet. We can trust that ultimately good comes from this. So it's our opportunity, now more than ever, to do our work, to expand our awareness of the divine in everything, and to stay the course, whatever that means to you, the best way you can. So I'm going to invite Stephanie to come up because we're going to close with a guided visualization. But before that happens, I'm going to bring this picture back up. And I'm going to leave the picture on during the visualization, even though you're going to have your eyes closed. I want you to really, really see what this picture is. It's a picture of a woman walking down a road heading toward the sun. So you see it? You got it. Put yourself in that picture. And now close your eyes. And imagine that you are walking along a similar road. And you're heading to something that you desire. Health, prosperity, love, happiness, peace. And as you're walking along this path, your way is clear. The path is certain. You are on course. And now in your mind's eye, imagine that a storm rolls in. It's windy. The rain comes. The clouds roll in. The path becomes muddy. Your footing is less sure. And the image of your desire is obscured. And yet, because you know that the divine is everywhere, all the time, you stay the course. You continue on your path, even though you can't see where you're going. And eventually, the storm moves out. The sun returns, and the mud dries up. And you look ahead, and there, right where it was before the storm, is your desire. Bright and clear as ever. It was never gone. It was simply covered up temporarily by the challenges of life here on earth. As you continue walking along, you notice also that the rain from the storm, combined with the sun before and after the storm, provided warmth and nourishment. And now everywhere you look, there are wildflowers popping up along the path. As far as your eye can see, there is beauty accompanying you on your path. Had you veered off course, had you taken a different path, have you turned back or given up on your desire, not only would you not be moving toward it, you would have missed the divine, the goodness of life appearing everywhere around you. Just take a few more minutes to enjoy the beauty and the assuredness of your path. And now slowly begin to bring yourself back to where you are, in your chair, in your bed, on the floor, wherever you are. Begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. And when you're ready, open your eyes.